Hello everyone and welcome back to Neptune's Child Tarot. Thank you all so much for being here, for your continued love and support. So today we're going to be doing a reading actually for the month of October. So happy October everyone. Today's October 1st. We're going to be asking Spirit, what should you focus on for October 2025? Okay, now if you do feel drawn to the video, regardless of when you are tuning in, even if it's past October, and you feel drawn to a certain group and the messages that come through do resonate for you, please trust that those are the messages that you're meant to receive at that time, regardless of when you're tuning in. Okay, so again, what should you focus on for October 2025? I am going to be using this beautiful deck here. This is the Halloween Forever Oracle that was donated by Erin. So Erin, thank you so much for sending this in from my Amazon wish list. So we do have 3 crystals out here for you guys to choose from today. For group number 1, you're going to be this yellow, I believe it's a Jasper. For group number 2, we have Autumn Obsidian. And then for group number 3, we have a Snowflake Obsidian. Okay, so if you already feel drawn to one of the crystals, you can go ahead and skip right to the timestamp. It'll take you directly to your reading, but I am going to be adding in one of these beautiful cards to help you guys with choosing for those of you that do need that extra bit of help. Okay, so what should you focus on for October 2025? I hope you all are having a beautiful first day of October. The weather is already starting to change, or it has actually during all of September. It was starting to change, but really yesterday is when I started to really notice the chill in the air, and lots of wind. So let's see, rain, things of that nature. Leaves all over the ground, falling from the trees. So it's happening. It's happening for us here in the Northern Hemisphere. So what should you focus on for October of 2025? Let's pull something for group 1. Group 2, what should you focus on for October 2025? And group 3. Okay, so let's see what we've got. Group 1, we have card number 15, Voodoo and Violet. And that is with this little yellow Jasper. Group number 2, we have card number 44, Autumn Angel. And it's funny, the way that these crystals, we have the Autumn Obsidian with the Autumn Angel card. Group number 3, we have card number 30, Empire. Somebody's alarm. Empire of Bones. And that is with the Snowflake Obsidian. Okay, so once again, our question today is, what should you focus on for October of 2025? Okay, if you do feel drawn to more than one of the groups, that is perfectly okay for today's topic. Pause the video if you need a little bit more time, and I will see you all at your reading. Hi, group 1. So those of you that resonated with the Voodoo and Violet card, this is going to be your reading. So we're going to look in our little guidebook here, and we're going to see what this card is talking about when we're asking Spirit, what should you focus on for October of 2025? So number 15, there it is. Okay, so it says, channel your hurt and anger into art. Create something inspiring out of your pain. Let success be your revenge. It says, it appears someone has mistreated you or a loved one, or that you are otherwise experiencing reactive heartbreak or rage. But instead of seeking retaliation through direct punishment, you will find even greater satisfaction when you direct your emotion towards self-betterment and creative self-expression. This dragon fae beauty was betrayed by someone she had previously trusted. And despite her natural skill in the practice of voodoo, she did not waste an ounce of energy on magically affecting harm. Instead, she used her heartbreak as fuel to create a whole line of artistic voodoo dolls. She eventually amassed so many that she decided to open a shop in the French Quarter of New Orleans. Now she can barely keep up with the demand. While her ex-partner passes by her shop frequently and looks longingly at her through the windows, she has magically barred him from entry and has, in fact, blocked him from contacting her at all. She rarely gives him a thought. She has far better things to do with her time. Now you must use your own challenge as fuel to propel you up and out of sadness and into triumph. Make excellence your goal and refuse to be discouraged or deterred. Like this violet-eyed entrepreneur who is now the toast of Bourbon Street, find the glorious fortune hidden within your seeming setback, and make your former tormentors and detractors wake up every morning cursing the day they forsook your alliance and broke your trust. Whatever you're feeling, honor it, but don't give away your power to the thoughts, opinions, or behaviors of others. Be your own champion. Be strong. Burnish your beauty, maximize your prospects, and show the whole world just how magnificent you are. Okay? So, month of October, channel your hurt and anger into art. Okay, whatever that is. If you are someone who likes to paint, draw, dance, sing, write music, write poetry, short stories, work with, clay, making jewelry, anything like that. The first thing that's coming to my mind when I said jewelry is like, because this is about betrayal, that what this is talking about, betrayal, heartbreak. So it's making me think about like somebody who creates like this beautiful little design of, I don't know, something with like a heart and jewels and something that you create. Not that you have to do that. I'm just giving you kind of an example that's coming to my mind. Like if you made something like some kind of amulet for people that, that's specifically for healing, from heartbreak or trauma, betrayal, things of that nature. Just like little things that you do, right? Or painting something beautiful. Okay, so that's what Spirit is wanting you to do, is creatively expressing yourself, the emotions that you're dealing with. So let's pull the tarot here and see. I mean, other little things that I think of, like of crafts, like sewing, knitting, crocheting, pottery, little workshops that you can take. Scrapbooking. That's always been something I've wanted to do. Okay, so group number 1, what should you focus on for October 25? And basically this is healing, helping you with healing, especially if you've tried many different things with helping you to work through your pain, your anger, trying something new, doing something new to kind of help you with that energy. So what should you focus on for October of 2025? We have the Six of Wands. Some of you, I'm literally seeing a married couple here. So maybe for some of you, it's your marriage. You know, maybe if there was betrayal in a committed partnership, a marriage here. What should you focus on for October 2025? Yeah, look at that. We've got the Five of Wands. Okay. So if there's still, you know, even feelings of jealousy or anger, tension, conflict, petty fights and arguments, which is what the Five of Wands is about, differences. There's the Four of Wands. Okay, so we got 4, 5, and 6. The Four of Wands is a harmonious relationship. This could be your home life. Okay, betrayal, of course, doesn't just have to be with a romantic partner. It can be with a family member. It could be with a friend. Okay, somebody that you have close to you. But the Four of Wands is a more balanced energy. It's more harmonious. What should you focus on? Temperance. Okay. Temperance is balance. Temperance is healing. It's also being patient, because you still might have a lot of anger, you know, dealing with this. Being kind to yourself. Okay, temperance is not only about healing and patience, but it's also about mind, body, spirit, wellness. This could be a time for self-care, a time for eating good food, nourishing your body, really taking care of yourself, okay? Taking care of, like I said, the mind, the body, and the spirit. Maybe this is doing spiritual practices, routines, meditation, yoga, exercise, because temperance can also be about moderation. So this might be kind of taking a look at other areas of your life where you can create more balance, more harmony. Okay, whether that is if like right now, because if, you know, sometimes if we're feeling really hurt and we're going through breakups or betrayal and stuff like that, you know, I kind of find like sometimes we might get into a place where we forget to eat, or we could overeat, you know, and we could start to grab all the wrong things. Oftentimes, you know, when you're kind of watching movies, I feel like everybody sees this. Whenever you watch movies and you see, usually it's a girl and she just went through a breakup, what does she have with her? Ice cream. The whole tub of it. The whole tub of ice cream with a spoon. And so, you know, we kind of sometimes might use food for comfort. And we might overdo it a little bit and reach for all the treats and then start to feel not so good because we overconsumed too much junk, right? And really, this should be a time of really nourishing your body. And temperance is about moderation. So maybe we allow ourselves a meal or a day to just eat and just kind of reach for all the things. But then, you know, the next day try to go back to maybe something a little healthier, or maybe we could do a little detox or fasting or something like that to help you to kind of feel more grounded, almost like a purification of your energy. Okay. If we're not feeling good mentally, right? Then we can try to eliminate stressors in our life. And of course, it's hard to do if you're, you know, in the home. It might be a little bit more challenging, but this is maybe you spend some time outdoors. Here, Temperance, she's out on, looks like she's out on a little dock there, spending some time in nature. Okay, so let's see what else. What should you focus on for October? The Two of Cups. Okay, so another card of balance, harmony. This could also be a time of you speaking from your heart, expressing feelings and emotions. Now, if you're not in contact, I would say with the person who's hurt you or betrayed you, because for some of you, this could certainly be something that you're going through right now. But for others of you, this might be lingering stuff from your past, and it's not always possible to talk to that person or for them to even want to hear what we have to say. But there's still a need for you to express yourself. Okay. And though this is where Spirit is saying to channel that energy into art. So maybe we write. Maybe we write our little hearts out and we write some heartbreaking poetry, and we write a book. We write a short story little book, or we release a book of poems, and we monetize that. Okay, so we also have the Magician. Eight of Wands in reverse and Judgment. The Hermit and the Death card. Yeah, some of you might need a little bit of some alone time too. Okay. The Hermit is here, which is about solitude, introspection, reflection. We have the Judgment card here. And also, again, we've got Bride and Groom. Some of you might have a decision to make. And I will say that maybe for those of you that are actually in a committed relationship with this person right now, or you are married. Okay? Because Judgment is about release, which means letting go of this energy. Okay? If we're still holding on to anger, if we're still holding on to resentment, pain, sadness, Judgment is where we let go. Because Judgment is about going through the death and rebirth cycle. We do also have death here. Okay, so the Scorpio energy, rebirth, transformation. And some of you might be making a decision about whether or not you want to continue that relationship or that marriage. Judgment can be also about forgiveness, because we have a decision about whether or not we're willing to make peace with our past and let it go, which means maybe forgiving the other person, forgiving ourselves, for even ways in which we could have betrayed ourselves by not putting our own needs first, or, things like that. So, or not speaking up, not speaking our truth, that can be another thing, in ways we can betray ourselves and what our feelings are and not being able to speak on it. So I am feeling like this is a time to really focus your intention on making October the month of releasing. Now, certainly, if we choose to forgive, especially for those of you that are going to stay married or stay in the relationship, you don't want to carry around the resentment, And there's one of my friends, she was actually an old coworker that I had many years ago. And I know I've shared this story with you guys before, where I was in a relationship before that lasted 5 years. And it was with a person who betrayed me so bad, with about 20 to 30 different females that I found out about. And it just completely broke me. And it was very painful to go through that. And I remember that she told me, my coworker, because she asked me, are you going to still be with him? And this was like when the first time happened. Okay, the first time that it happened and I found out about it. And she asked me, She's like, and she was the kind of friend who wouldn't just take your side and say, "Oh yeah, you're right. He's no good," and blah blah blah. No, you would come to her with the information, and she would tell you from both sides. And so that's where I learned to appreciate that kind of guidance. And that was the first experience that I had with a person like that, that would tell me when I was wrong, and to tell me what she would point things out to say, "Hey, stop doing this," or "Stop treating him that way," or "Stop," like little things that she would notice when I would tell her, where she would kind of look at both sides. So when she asked me, "Are you still going to be with him?" And I said yes. And she said, "Well, then don't throw it in his face. You're either going to be with him and move on from it and let it go." She's like, "Don't be that person who's going to say you're going to stay with him and then you're going to throw it in his face every couple days." So you either decide, and that's what judgment is about. It's about forgiveness. It's about releasing, letting go, making peace with our past, forgiving ourselves, forgiving others, letting go of the anger, letting go of the resentment. And of course, getting to that place takes time. We can't just flip a switch and turn it off, but we do have a decision to make, especially for those of you where you're in this right now. And of course, you don't want to make that decision when you're very emotionally unstable and like a roller coaster all over the place every day. Okay? You need to be in a clear head space to think about things logically, and see how you feel. But some of you might have a big decision about whether or not you want to end that relationship. Okay? And judgment is where we look to our past with the person, our past with that situation. I do want to see why this Eight of Wands is in reverse. Sometimes this can talk about delays or setbacks or miscommunication, mixed messages. So I want to look at that. We do have Gemini and Virgo energy here. Sagittarius as well. Why is the Eight of Wands in reverse? Page of Cups. Page of Pentacles and the Two of Swords. Okay. So some of you could have received an apology from this person. Okay? You could have received an apology. I don't feel like that's all of you, but some of you could have been apologizing or received an apology from someone and an opportunity from someone to start over. But with the Two of Swords being here, this is about us having conflicting thoughts or ideas, because part of you, like I said, might decide like, okay, I want to try to work on this. And then the other part of you might say, you know what? No, no, absolutely not. I'm not going to do this. I need to get out of this. Okay. For those of you where this is a situation that's already behind you, again, you might still be holding on to these energies here. And it might be hard for you to, in that process of letting go, you might feel still energetically tied to this person or this situation. But we do have these two beautiful energies that are here where Spirit is kind of guiding you towards creativity. And the Page of Cups is an incredibly creative energy. Some of you might feel a little bit blocked right now because there could be a lot of that you're feeling. Page of Pentacles could be working on a new project. Okay. Page of Cups is a very creative energy. So, some of you, this could be even monetizing this. Okay. Page of Cups is also an energy of expression. Okay, self-expression. So, yeah, we've got the Wheel of Fortune here at the bottom, and here's the Tower with the Five of Swords and the Devil. Okay. Two of Wands is also here. Two of Wands is about making a choice. Okay. So for those of you that are dealing with this right now, and the Five of Swords is here, which the Five of Swords is about betrayal. It's about resentment. It could also be that if this is your current partner right now, there could be a lot of fighting, a lot of arguing, a lot of saying maybe some not so nice things, a lot of heated words and conversations. And the Devil energy could be, you know, you kind of replaying that betrayal over and over and over in your mind again. Because the Devil can sometimes be obsessing over something, you know. Especially if this betrayal involved another person. Okay. Not all the time with the Devil, but for some of you, if this is like involving another person, or even an unhealthy habit that this person might have, that you have boundaries with, and they betrayed you in this way, this can make this quite challenging. So the Tower is here. The Tower is about release, about letting go. And it can also talk about upheaval and chaos that we're dealing with. It might even, this energy, this anger, this resentment might even put us in a very shadowy space with the Devil here. It might make our shadow self appear, and we might be a little bit toxic with regard to certain unhealthy habits or patterns that we might develop as a result of this experience. It can most certainly create trust issues, right? It might make us jealous. It might make us possessive, controlling, or even kind of in that energy of revenge with that Five of Swords. And so I feel like this is kind of like a choice that we have to make. If we're going to continue on, right, in that energy, and of course, like I said, it's easier said than done. You can't just snap your fingers and it all goes away. You know, I'm still healing from that. Just little lingering things here and there that pop up every now and then. And this was something that happened back with this ex-partner more than 10 years ago. Betrayal trauma is quite the beast to get over. But yeah, here in this Devil card here, you know, we can become chained to like kind of like a bound to that experience. And it ends up making us feel like we're trapped in it. We can't get over it. We can't escape it. And that Devil energy is an illusion. It's the ego holding on to that experience, the pain, the suffering, the anger, the resentment. But your higher self knows, right, that your soul is free, that you don't have to keep yourself confined to that experience. You allow yourself to honor your feelings, just like this card was saying. You allow yourself to honor it. If you feel angry today and stuff is coming up for you, let yourself be angry. Okay? I'm not saying that this, you know, there's healthy ways of being able to express the anger. Because, of course, if somebody hurts you like that, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things you want to say to them and a lot of names you want to call them, and you can get real, hitting below the belt with a lot of things and resorting to that level of just so much anger that you just say all kinds of things. And, sometimes, I don't know. I feel like that's a challenging one, because in a way you should be able to express yourself, the what you feel, and in that moment. You're certainly entitled to feeling that way, you know. But again, going back to the message here of what Spirit is wanting you to focus on in October is letting yourself work through this, okay? And take the time that you need. Be patient with yourself. Be kind and compassionate as you work through this. And the Six of Wands is about overcoming challenges. It's about achieving a milestone, and you can start that within yourself. You can't change what has happened. We can't go back and change it. But we can certainly choose how we will react to it. How we can not let a certain event that happens to us to completely derail our progress, or to derail, or I want to say throw us out of alignment. And to learn how to navigate even the most difficult of emotions, because there's a lot that comes with self-mastery with that, right? The devil is us having no control over that. It's more or less being captive by the ego and what it traps us in and keeps us stuck in, right? In fear, or in a certain lower vibrational energy, and not being able to get out of it, right? Or feeling like we can't get out of it, we can't escape it. And by you kind of restoring harmony within inside of yourself is kind of like where the first step to helping you to releasing that, right? If we have all of those emotions kind of bottled up inside of us, and we don't express them, we don't speak our truth, and we're holding it all inside, then we're not really doing the healing that we need to. We're not really releasing. We're not allowing ourselves to move through those emotions, to help us to kind of come out the other side balanced. Not to say that we'll be unscathed by it, but we'll certainly be wiser. And there's a lot of personal growth and development that can take place if we choose to. Again, it's a choice, because we can't change the pain, the thing that caused the pain, but we can choose not to let ourselves suffer. That's a choice. Okay. So, yeah, this is Spirit encouraging you to create, to manifest, to create, and tap into your inner child, because you do have 2 pages here, and the Magician is here. Okay. So this can be tapping into your infinite creative potential within inside of yourself, where you can take these ideas, this inspiration, or channel, like this is saying, channel this energy into something powerful for yourself. Maybe you go do some research with classes, workshops you want to take, certifications you can do, learn a new healing modality, go take a healing class, like those of you that want to learn about Reiki, or any other type of healing modality. Use this as that kind of like that jumping off point for you to explore and certainly transmute, because that's what we're doing here with Temperance, transmuting the energy. Transmute it. Let yourself feel it, but move through it. Don't just sit in it and become that emotion where it starts to take over your whole life. Kind of set boundaries in a way with it, where you say, okay, I'm feeling angry today. I'll let myself feel angry for this amount of time. And then after that, okay, we're going to start to redirect and focus our energy elsewhere. Okay. But when it does come up, because sometimes it'll be random, you know, and I remember that would happen to me too, especially when I first went through that. And I couldn't even go out in public because I would immediately, as soon as someone would start talking to me, I would start bursting into tears. Like I couldn't talk. I couldn't be in public. I was just kind of like so spacey and not there, because I was in so much pain. It was really hard, you know, to go through that and to feel that, because I couldn't function. I couldn't think. It just, it was an awful experience, but yeah. So I would encourage you to kind of explore, write, speak, surround yourself with people that are loving and that are supportive at this time. People that are good listeners, people that give good advice, people that can offer you support at this time, especially for those of you where this is past stuff too, and you got to talk about it in order to help to move through it. And sometimes, you know, allowing that to kind of come to the surface could be painful, but this is the way in which Spirit is kind of wanting you to take this month as, you know, releasing here, you know. And we are, you know, later in the month we're going to be moving into Scorpio season. So, you know, lots of transformation. We can start that now. Okay. All right. So I'm going to leave this here for you. Group number 1. I do hope this reading was helpful for you all, and I will see you on the next one. Hi, group 2. So those of you that resonate with card number 44, Autumn Angel and the Autumn Obsidian, this is going to be your reading today. So we're asking Spirit, what should you focus on for October of 2025? Okay, so we're going to start off with the message from the guidebook about what this is about, what Spirit is saying that you should focus on. So card number 44. Okay, so it says, be still, connect with the radiant beauty at your heart. When you embody divine peace, you will be a light and comfort to others and call beautiful conditions into your world. This is Gabriella, the angel of autumn, meditating tranquilly in the Halloween sunrise. These adorable young cat siblings sensed her presence. They gathered around her to bask in her sweet and loving energy, and everyone is just as pleased and satisfied as possible. If you have been rushing around frantically trying to force something to happen or attempting to change a condition that is out of your control, this is a message to stop. Take a step back, relax, and connect with silence and space. Perhaps take a bath, gaze at the sunrise, or arrange for a solitary retreat. Then align with divinity. Call on angels or other manifestations of Spirit. Return to your heart and to your heart-centered intentions. This will bring about the inner shift that will allow things to flow ideally and with ease. Cats like to settle around those who sit quietly and emanate peace. Similarly, your most generative life conditions will not come to you if you are constantly on the chase. There are times when you must find contentment with where you already are. For like attracts like, and contentment draws more contentment unto itself. The alchemy of manifestation is a delicate balance. Just as you must exhale to inhale, you must balance your action with relaxation and your single-minded focus with a clear and steady inner calm. Too much action can cause us to forget the love that motivated our goals in the first place. So sometimes we must stop and recharge by quietly soaking in the soft light of compassion and universal love. Take a break, be kind to yourself, follow your intuition about gentle self-care practices that will help you rediscover your guidance and realign with your heart. and the cats of good fortune will surely cozy up to you and make themselves at home. Okay, so let's take a look at your tarot and see what is coming through. So what should you focus on for October 2025? Group number 2. We have, look at that, 10 of Wands, the 8 of Pentacles, the Tower in reverse, Knight of Wands, the 9 of Pentacles. That's not going to fit there. Three of Swords, the Chariot, Six of Cups, and the Eight of Cups. Okay. And the Strength card. Okay, so what should you focus on for October 2025? I feel like this is you, okay? We have the Eight of Pentacles energy here, which I see this message in a couple different ways. First off, the Eight of Pentacles is about self-mastery, okay? The Nine of Pentacles is about independence. So it's about having a strong sense of self, a strong sense of identity. It's about feeling confident in the self. This could be a lot of work that you're putting towards yourself. Now, because this card is also talking about if you've been really trying to work hard, and yes, the Eight of Pentacles can be about hard work. We started off with the 10 of Wands, which the 10 of Wands energy can be when we feel burnt out, when we feel overwhelmed, stressed out, burdened by something, or we're doing too much, okay? And Tower here is about release, okay? So some of you, I feel like this could be tied into something romantic for you, okay? The Three of Swords is here, which could be talking about breakup, separation, some type of pain or heartbreak that you've been dealing with. And the Six of Cups here is a card of nostalgia, you know, memories of the past. And maybe for some of you, if you're still healing from a breakup, or you're trying to put effort towards trying to get back together with someone, and you feel like you're just working so hard to try to get back together with them and it's just not working, that would be your message about stopping and focusing on yourself, okay? Now, if you are someone, and I feel like for some of you, you might have even been, you know, went through a divorce recently, you know, and that can also be very difficult, very hard to go through because he's maybe dealing with a lot, you know, and so again, I feel like this is the time for you to focus on yourself. If you're someone who's been working a lot, okay, working too much, and maybe not seeing the results that you want, this can be a time for a pause, a time for a little break, a little bit of a reset, okay? And perhaps this, you know, the Six of Cups card could be you looking to things from the past in terms of where your goals have been, like highlights, right? Where you can say, okay, what I was doing in the past for work, or this job or that job, and I really like that, or, you know, this was positive, that was good. So that when you're in this period of rest, that you feel re-energized, okay? Because you do have the Knight of Wands here, and the Knight of Wands is about action. And some of you might be in a very action kind of oriented energy, but with the wands is, it's a fire energy, and fire can be both a very powerful thing that is positive for us, but it can also be very destructive at the same time. Okay. So we can feel burnt out, right? If we put out too much action, too much, and then we end up feeling just depleted, drained. Okay. The Eight of Cups card here is also about walking away from something. It can also be about emotional detachment. So those of you that are still lingering in nostalgia of the past, a person from the past, if it's romantic, an ex-partner. Here in this Three of Swords card, there's a little locket here with a little hair braided inside of it, kind of like a little keepsake. And here in the Six of Cups card, she's kind of got a frame where she's looking at pictures and stuff like that. So those of you that are, having a difficult time with moving on and releasing, this could be a time for you to kind of just rest, rest. The Strength card is also about being calming your energy at this time. Okay, so just like this was talking about, if we've been in kind of like action mode of doing, it's not really making, especially for those of you like where you're working towards like a goal, or it has something to do with finance and stuff like that, and you just feel like so burnt out, so stressed out. Take that time for a rest. Get away from it for a while. This is talking about planning a little getaway. The Eight of Cups could be you just taking a break from work, going on vacation, a little bit of a reset. The Six of Cups can also be a beautiful card about memories from the past in a positive way. We could be looking back to maybe the positive things, right, that we've experienced in the past, and looking at it in that way versus pain. We look at it as like that season of our life where we had such a good time, and it fills us with those, feelings of comfort and happiness and joy that we've experienced in the past, and that may be a time of purging and healing. Okay. Now we also have two cards here, the Chariot and the Strength card. Both of these cards can talk about willpower. Okay, having willpower. The Strength card is about inner strength, courage, confidence, bravery, but also self-control, because there might be, right, a lot of emotions that you're also dealing with right now. And this is about us learning how to kind of tame and calm that energy, because the Strength card has a lot to do with our ego and a lot to do with impulsivity. Right? So if we're feeling hurt or we've gone through a breakup, our natural inclination might be to like chase, right? Pursue, which is what the Knight of Wands is about. I want to get back together with that person. I want to keep trying and keep trying and keep trying and keep trying and keep trying. And it just wears us out, right? The action, all the energy that we're putting out, it's like we're not getting any. We're working so hard. And the same thing could be with work, right? Where we're trying to make money, hard work to the point where we are so drained. We can't focus. We can't think clearly. Our brain is tired. Maybe we feel physical fatigue. We feel spiritually just drained, right? This could also be that time where you just, because the Nine of Pentacles is also about being able to enjoy the fruits of our labor. See how far you've come. Especially for those of you where this has to do with career. Even if we're not exactly where we want to be just yet, take a break. A little bit of a reset. Some of you may have been purposefully working hard because you're trying to achieve a goal, but then you keep going and going and going, and you're saying, okay, this isn't going anywhere. Let me just stop for a moment, recharge, replenish my energy, and then I'll feel a lot more balanced and ready to go in a better way. So I do feel like Spirit's kind of encouraging you to calm that energy of that need to go, 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 and just kind of calm for a while, right? To create that balance, little bit of a reset. This can also give you time to say, okay, where am I right now? Where do I want to be? While you're taking that rest, right? Because sometimes we're also on autopilot and just go, 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 go. And we're like, okay, well, what was the goal again? What was I working towards? Okay, maybe take some time for you. Could certainly be a message here. Some of you could have been focusing a lot maybe like on other people, and now maybe for the month of October, this is you giving back to you. Okay, why is the Tower in reverse? Now we do have Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, Cancer energy, and also Aries, Aries and Scorpio. Why is the Tower here? We have the Emperor, Knight of Swords in reverse. And Justice. Yeah, some of you could have gone through a divorce or a breakup. You could be trying to right past wrongs here, or wanting someone else to right their past wrongs, wanting justice in a situation. Hold on a second. Yeah, so we've also got Libra energy here. Libra, Aquarius, and Gemini. Yeah, some of you might be feeling a little irritated, a little angry with someone. That's what I'm getting here as well. I am getting a divorce in this group. 10 of Pentacles is at the bottom. Yep. Divorce. Some of you, you know, there could be certain things that you want to say to someone as well. And you might feel like that need, like, I want to say it to them right now. Like, it has to be now. This could be a need for letting go of that urgency. Okay? You might feel like, I want answers right now. I want closure right now. I want, you know, like all these things. Or I want to try to fix it right now. I want to try to reconcile it right now. And so perhaps this is the time of, like Spirit is saying, just resting. Taking a moment to pause and to reflect. Okay, because justice is about doing, it's about making the right choices, doing what is best for your highest good, you know. And sometimes, like, I know, you know, if we do go through a breakup, like I said, sometimes our natural inclination is like, I want to hurry up and try to reconcile. I want to get back together with this person, instead of sometimes taking the break that we need to. You know, because sometimes if there's, you know, of course there's reasons why you break up with a person, or why breakups happen, or even divorces happen. There's an issue, right? There's an issue. And sometimes those issues are not resolved. The differences are irreconcilable. And so sometimes even when we make a decision, like when we have like a breakup with someone and we immediately want to go right back into the connection, nothing's been settled. Sometimes we find that we're in exactly the same place because we haven't taken that time to reflect or to grow from that and to actually resolve it. We end up having the same fight, the same argument over again. the whole reason for breaking up with the person in the first place, or them breaking up with us. Okay? Some of you might be needing to work on your communication skills, the way that you come across. I don't think that's all of you, but some of you might have a little bit of a spicy tongue. Or you might be a little hurtful with the way that you say things. If you've got a little bit of a temper. Okay? Being very reactive or even defensive. Yeah, that could be something that we need to work on, because justice is about honesty. It's about integrity, treating people fairly, but also us being treated fairly. Wow, that sun is bright. That sun is just like glaring in here. Boy. So yeah, maybe we can take some time to think, okay, how can we do this better? Or, especially for those of you where you're making choices surrounding what to do with work or career, and we feel, the inability to focus right now, or we can't, plan things correctly. The Emperor is about strategy and about getting things done, So maybe the way in which we're doing something needs a little bit of changing. And maybe with us taking time to reflect, right, and pause, will give us the insight that we need to help us to reapproach the situation in a better way, with new ideas, with new passion or motivation for something, and kind of look at it in that way. Okay? All right, so I'm going to leave this here for you, group 2. I do hope this reading was helpful for you guys, and I will see you in the next one. Hi, group 3. So those of you that resonated with the Snowflake Obsidian and card number 30, the Empire of Bones. This is going to be a reading today. So we're going to start off with the message from the little guidebook here about this, the Empire of Bones, and seeing what it is that Spirit is wanting you to focus on for October of 2025. So this is card number 30. Okay, so it says, you are a product of countless ancestors and billions of years of evolution. Vast wisdom floods and is encoded within your every cell. Draw upon the ancient whispers of all those who have contributed to your existence. You are the culmination of a truly unknowable number of lineages, genetic, spiritual, and intellectual. All these flows of energy and information uniquely coalesce to comprise, define, enliven, and guide you. If you consider just one of your grandparents, you can likely see that many of their experiences, talents, habits, and perspectives contributed to your own. But if you consider their parents, and then their parents, and then their parents before them, you will see that your origins are so ancient and so vast, you cannot even begin to conceptualize them. And yet they hold precious keys to healing deeply and living with mastery and ease. Draw upon the wisdom of your ancestors, the elders in your spiritual lineage, or the pioneers in your cherished discipline or craft. Recognize and foster the strengths and strategies they have passed along to you, and simply set the intention to connect with their power. There are things you know and know how to do that come from these ancient currents of wisdom and light. Claim these talents, acknowledge their origins, and give thanks for all the many blessings they bestow. For example, you may have a way with herbs, a connection with crystals, or a talent for reading tea leaves, or attuning to the stars. Perhaps color speaks to you, or you are a math or science whiz, or you have a sense for speaking words of comfort or sending healing energy through your hands. If you relax, look within, and invoke the ancient wisdom that is your birthright, you will discover you already know what action or path to take. Notice your talents and proclivities, and let the sage expertise of the ages naturally flow to you and through you, lighting and guiding your way. Okay, so we're going to start with that and see what your tarot is bringing through. But that is your focus for 2025, is connecting with your ancestral lineage. Let's see. What should you focus? And I love this too, because not only do we have, you know, Halloween, Samhain, but we also have, and of course it's probably different across the different cultures in the way that each one celebrates the dead. But I feel like that's such, you know, a beautiful way. And not just should that be something that we only celebrate our past loved ones or ancestors in the month of October and very early November for the Day of the Dead that's celebrated in Mexico, but, you know, in other cultures in which we can connect with the ancestors all the time, right? Creating little altars in your home, or even if you just reserve like a little area of your dresser in your bedroom, or a nightstand, or, you know, something that's close to your front door, or, you know, something like that, where you just kind of keep pictures and little keepsakes and things that are important to you that have been passed down, or even having practices, spiritual practices that your ancestors had, okay? All of you come from so many different cultures and have such beautiful things within your lineage for you to discover, you know, and how our ancestors did it and how they lived and what kind of practices did they have that you can then incorporate into your own already existing practices, or for those of you that want to be more connected to your ancestors, to do some research and some studying about that, and, you know, kind of find your own way of doing things. I know sometimes you might, like this is talking about, where we come from many different lineages, and you might kind of explore all of them and say, okay, I want to kind of incorporate these types of practices into something that you make that's uniquely for you. Okay, so what should you focus on for October of 2025? The Ace of Pentacles in reverse. The Lovers, the Three of Wands. Nine of Swords. We have the Ace of Swords. Sorry guys, you might hear my stomach growling. It's breakfast time. We have the Page of Pentacles. Five of Cups. The World. The Sun in reverse. The Magician reverse. Nine of Pentacles in the Tower. I'm going to put these over here. Okay, so from what I'm kind of seeing here, this looks like some of you might be experiencing some difficulties right now, or pretty recently. The Five of Cups can be a card about dealing with depression or sadness, disappointment, discouragement, regret, guilt, shame. It's a lot of very heavy emotional energy. And then we have the Nine of Swords up here, which is about anxiety and worrying and stressing, sometimes not getting good rest, not being able to sleep, having a lot on your mind, maybe thinking a lot about what's going to happen in the future, or maybe even how you can change things. And we might be even in that place where we might feel a little hopeless and worried, about what's to come and what the future is going to look like. And it could be causing you to feel a little down. I am seeing the sun energy in reverse too, which could be that we're feeling unhappy, discontent about something. I'm seeing the Five of Pentacles at the bottom too. So some of you might even be dealing with financial challenges right now. Okay. Trying to find a job. You could be trying to improve your finances. And when we're feeling like this, right? No matter what is going on in our life or what it is that we're experiencing, oftentimes we're very taken in with whatever that experience is, and we feel alone. Okay? We feel alone. Like we don't have anyone. And even though we might not have someone physically present where we have like a good friend we can talk to, or a family member, or a coworker, or somebody that we can really count on to support in some way, even if it's just emotional support, we end up feeling alone in whatever that experience is. The Five of Pentacles is, feeling left out in the cold, abandoned, rejected, shut out, especially for those of you where you're trying to find a job and the answer is just no, 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 no. And you feel, when we're in that Five of Pentacles energy, we feel despair. Like there's nothing that we can do to help ourselves, The Five of Pentacles, when we're feeling like that, if you notice in this card, actually in the Rider-Waite, the two characters are facing the other way. I notice in this card, they're facing that way. But there's a church back there, right? And that church can provide support, can provide assistance. So in a way, the Five of Pentacles card tells us that when we're feeling helpless and we're feeling like all hope is lost and there's nothing that we can do because we're dealing with a lack of resources or, financial challenges or difficulties, or we're feeling alone, that there are resources available to us. There always is. Okay. I feel like this is your ancestors wanting you to know that they are there for you. That they are your support system. Even in this Lover's card here, I'm seeing how, there's this little female here. She looks like she's staring up into his eyes. There's a little jealous one in the background. But there's an angel up there. There's an angel up there that's kind of supportive and kind of watching over. Now, maybe some of you, are dealing with a love situation, or maybe even like a third party situation that's very painful, and it can be hard for us to overcome a lot of sometimes the difficulties that we're going through and how it can cause disruption in our life. But starting off with that Ace of Pentacles in reverse, I do feel like the message here for October for you, first off, we've got that building that connection with our ancestors. But starting off with that Ace of Pentacles in reverse, I feel like this is about you opening yourself up to new opportunities. Because for some of you, there may be a lot of changes that you're going through right now in your life. The Tower can talk about, dealing with upheaval, dealing with things that are sometimes outside of our control. Like, let's just say some of you that have lost a job, right? And you could be in a temporary situation right now where money's tight and you can feel very discouraged because if you've been trying to find a job and, it's just not panning out, okay? I feel like, because I am seeing the Page of Pentacles here, which is a positive thing. The Page of Pentacles, especially for those of you that are unemployed, that's a job offer. Okay? I feel like, especially for those of you that are dealing with that situation, Spirit is wanting you to broaden your horizons. Okay? So if we're kind of only looking, like, say, like in a certain area, and we're like, okay, there's no jobs. What am I going to do? Expand. If that means we've got to move, relocate, the Ace of Pentacles is a need for us to be open, because we can be throwing certain opportunities away, or turning down certain opportunities, or not being open to them. You know, the Ace of Swords can also be a breakthrough, right? So if we're worried about something right now, stressing out about things, feeling disappointed, feeling discouraged, and, you know, trying to bring ourselves back into a state of financial security, financial independence. The Magician is also in reverse, which can be an inability to focus. It can talk about a lack of willpower, or even not believing in yourself, not believing that you can create wealth, not believing that you can create abundance, right? And so when we're feeling low and sad and disappointed and discouraged, I do feel that, you know, in a way, your ancestors have also experienced this, right? They've lived life too, right? And many of our grandparents and parents had to deal with poverty, and deal with a lot of other things, right? That they went through, losing their homes, natural disasters, loss of loved ones. Like, they've been through it too. And so again, this is where Spirit is saying that we're connecting to the wisdom of our ancestors, because, you know, when we have several ancestors, let's just say, that have lived through poverty, and having experienced that, and what wisdom they have to share, how they overcame it, or how they continue to have hope or faith or trust. And so sometimes when we're feeling low, like I said, oftentimes we feel alone, right? We feel like, oh my goodness, I don't have a friend in the world. And maybe that's true, right? Sometimes, where we don't have anybody to depend on to pay our bills, or to support us and give us the emotional support we might need at that time. But we can call upon our ancestors for strength, for courage, for bravery, for confidence, for clarity, for opportunities. But we also have to listen. We have to be open to advice. We have to be open to the guidance. We have to pay attention. We have to observe. We have to be open to receiving that wisdom, their assistance, right? We can also ask for help. Okay? Call upon your ancestors for help. Because Spirit, right? Our ancestors, our past on loved ones, our spirit team, they, in a way, I mean, we do have our own free will, right? And there's certain things that they cannot intervene with, right? But we can call upon them to ask for their assistance, so they can step in and help us with, you know, seeing something clearly, or giving us some kind of sign, or some type of guidance or direction in some way. So for the month of October, Group 3, we can be working on building that connection with your spirit team, with your ancestors. Okay? Like this is saying, connecting to their wisdom. You know, of course, we've had ancestors that have experienced heartbreak and pain and poverty and unhappiness and depression and anxieties and worries and stressings and lack of confidence in themselves. But they've learned so much, right? And they've become also enlightened after they've left this earth. right? Things that they've been able to, knowledge that they've been able to acquire from going through their, after they've passed, where they are able to review their life and the choices that they've made and what they wish they would have done better and what they regret, right? They have so much wisdom to share, you know, and through building that connection with them and asking them, right? Hey, you know what, ancestor, I am really struggling right now. You know, maybe it's like we're dealing with financial difficulties and I don't know how to get myself out of this. Please support me or help me to find the support that I need. Help me with ideas. Point me in the right direction where we can call upon them for assistance, for clarity, right? To help us, to pull us out of those, you know, spaces where we might feel like we can't do it or that it's not possible to overcome whatever it is that we're facing. Okay? So I would certainly recommend to you, if you're open to it, you know, sometimes you might feel a little bit awkward. I know I did at first too when I first started spiritual practices. When I first had my awakening, I was just like weird. Like, this is weird. I'm talking to no one who's out there, who's listening. But you start to feel more confident, you know, and whether you choose to talk to them out loud, or you choose to talk to them in your mind, whatever works for you, whatever you feel the most comfortable with until you start really building that relationship. And you also don't want it to be a situation, and this is more out of respect for spirit, where you're just asking all the time, okay? Because you want to, it should be just like any other relationship, right? Where you build something, a mutual relationship with them. You know, you don't want to just be like, you know, upsetting the ancestors where they're like, oh my goodness, group 3 is like asking me for something else and just keeps asking and asking and asking. Like, we also have to, you know, do things for ancestors. Maybe we create a beautiful altar. Maybe we put offerings. Maybe, you know, if we are able to visit grave sites, and to bring flowers or gifts in some way. I know some of you leave offerings for, you know, ancestors already, and that's beautiful. But you can start doing that, right? You can, what I've done in the past too with ancestors and things like that is making a meal and leaving it on the altar. A little snack. Or just like things that you know that your ancestor might like, looking through old photos or, you know, things that you might think might be nice for them and letting them know, hey, I brought this for you. You know, they'll be able to receive the energy from it. You know, they may not be able to physically pick up that cookie and take a bite, but they can receive the energy and the intention that you put there. Okay. All right. So I'm going to leave this here for you. Group number 3. I do hope this was helpful for you guys, and I will see you in the next reading.